I heard the tremor in the chandelier before I heard my mother speak. It was the kind of tiny sound you only notice when you already sense something is about to go wrong. Diane Quinn dabbed the corner of her mouth with a linen napkin, leaned toward me, and said, almost tenderly, "Rory, we only invited you out of pity. Try not to linger." The words landed with a precise cruelty. Jason kept swirling his bourbon like this had nothing to do with him. Brianna let out a soft laugh and stared at her reflection in her wine glass. My father, Mark, sliced into his steak as if cutting deeper into the silence that followed. I set down my fork, steadying my breath. "Thank you for the invitation," I said, my voice calm in a way that surprised even me. Diane blinked. "No sarcasm tonight. Please, we are trying to have a pleasant family meal." "A pleasant meal," I repeated. "Of course." No one looked at me as I stood. No one asked where I was going. No one reached for my hand or said my name. The absence of reaction told a story that had been unfolding for years. And tonight, it simply finished the sentence. I picked up my bag. "Enjoy your evening," I said. Jason muttered. "She is so dramatic. Just loud enough for me to hear." Brianna added, "She always does this. Leaves before things get real." I paused at the edge of the table. "Things will get real soon," I said quietly. "Not tonight, but soon." None of them looked up. If you have ever walked away from a table that was never meant for you, then stay close as I continue. What comes next is where everything finally shifted. I left the restaurant and walked until the noise of my family thinned behind me. It always amazed me how easily they could bruise me without ever raising their voices. The only person who never did that was my grandfather, and memories of him rose the moment I needed them. When I was small, he would tap the side of the old cedar chest in the cabin at Big Bear Lake and say, "Rory, this place is yours to protect. Not everyone understands how to hold something gently." I used to answer, "I do. I'll keep it safe." He would smile, a quiet, knowing smile. "Someday, you will need that promise." Even as a child, I sensed there was something he wanted me to see, something about the way the rest of the family entered a room like it already belonged to them. Back then, I thought I was imagining it. Years later, after he passed, Diane stood in that same cabin doorway and declared, "This is the family retreat now. We will keep it running." I remember saying, "The deed has my name." She replied, "Names on paper do not decide belonging. Rory, families do." I did not argue. I was too young, too grateful to be included at all. That was years ago. Tonight. His words echoed with a clarity I could finally hear. Growing up in the Quinn house meant learning the choreography of being overlooked. Nothing was ever shouted. It was quieter than that, sharper than that. It lived in the pauses before anyone said my name. When I made the honor roll in high school, I came home holding the certificate. Diane glanced at it and said, "Good. Now go help Brianna get ready. She has her dance recital tonight." I remember whispering, "It was my ceremony." She answered, "Do not make everything about you." Jason was worse in simpler ways. When he needed forms signed for a car he could not afford, he slid the papers toward me. "Just sign them." "Rory," he said. "You are the responsible one," I asked. "Does Dad know about this?" "He will not care," Jason replied. "You are helping the family." I signed. I always signed. By my mid-20s, I had become the person they called for everything small, picking up groceries, dealing with deliveries, returning rental skis after weekend trips I was not invited to. Whenever I tried to speak up, the room grew still, the way it does before someone dismisses you. There was one summer afternoon when I stood in the living room doorway holding a bag of supplies for their Big Bear weekend. Diane barely looked up from her planner. "All the rooms are taken," she said. "Maybe next year." I set the bag down. No one asked why I left the house without saying goodbye. 2 nights after the dinner, my phone buzzed while I was rinsing a mug. I almost ignored it. The way you ignore something you already know will sting. But the buzzing kept going, sharp and insistent. When I picked it up, the Quinn family group chat filled the screen. Brianna Big Bear this year is going to be perfect. Jason, I am bringing the new grill. Diane, guest rooms assigned. Groceries listed. Schedule set. Not one mention of me. Not even a polite pretense. Then Jason wrote, Rory does not come anyway. We will use her key. Her key? Mine. Before I could react, another notification slid across the top of the screen, an email from the bank. I opened it without thinking. A joint account. My name beside Diane's. Auto payments for cabin property taxes listed as recurring. $4,300 drafted each year. I whispered, I never agreed to any of this. The room went still, as if even the appliances were waiting for my reaction. I set the phone down, screen face down. It buzzed again, the vibration rattling against the table. I did not pick it up. I sat, letting the sound fade into the walls, until something inside me settled with a quiet certainty. It was the first moment I understood exactly what needed to come next. I woke before the sun, the apartment still dim. For the first time in a long while, my mind felt sharp instead of crowded. I sat at the kitchen table with my notebook and wrote 3 lines. Sell the cabin. Close every account tied to my name. Contact an attorney about the estate. No hesitation. No second guessing. I opened the metal filing drawer beside the table. It groaned, the sound familiar, the way something loyal complains before helping you anyway. Inside were years of paper statements, letters, contracts, every document I had ever signed for the Quinns. I kept them because someone in that house had to remember details, and it was always me. Near the back, wrapped in an old envelope, I found the deed to the Big Bear cabin. My grandfather's handwriting still marked the edges. I laid it on the table. The paper felt heavier than I remembered. As I stared at it, I could almost hear Diane's voice from years ago. Names on paper do not decide belonging. This time, I answered her out loud. They do now. My phone buzzed on the counter. I let it ring. Nothing they said today would change what I had already chosen. At 7:14 that morning, I called Dan Morris, the only attorney who had ever spoken to me like I mattered. He answered with a tired voice. Rory, everything all right, I need to sell the Big Bear cabin. I said, my tone surprised even me, steady, almost cold. A pause. Then, the shuffle of papers. I thought your parents handled that place. They use it, I replied. They do not own it. Another pause, sharper this time. Send me the deed, and if you want this handled quietly, I can arrange an off-market buyer. Quiet is exactly what I want. After we hung up, I scanned each page of the deed, the machine humming like a small engine preparing for lift. I emailed the files to him with a single line. Proceed at your discretion. Then I opened my laptop and began the cleanup. The joint account tied to Diane's name closed. The credit line that Jason had begged me to co-sign revoked. The recurring drafts for property taxes disabled. Secondary signatures removed one by one. Each confirmation clicked like a domino falling in the right direction. Around noon, my phone lit up. Brianna Mom is finalizing the cabin trip. Are you coming or not? I did not open it. I let the message disappear behind the next window on my screen. Instead, I drafted an email to Harris Marshall, the estate lawyer. Hello? I would like to review all documents pertaining to the Quinn family estate. I want to ensure my rights are clearly represented. Please advise on available dates. Regards, Rory Quinn. I hit send. The apartment was silent again, but it was not the silence they used to force on me. This silence belonged to me. 10 days passed with a strange, steady calm. I worked, cooked simple meals, and kept my phone face down. On the 10th morning, Dan's name appeared on my screen. Rory, he said, we have an all-cash buyer. They want to close tomorrow. Then close. I answered. By noon the next day, the cabin was no longer mine, and for the first time, that truth felt like freedom instead of loss. The storm hit that evening. My phone buzzed so violently it nearly slid off the counter. The Quinn family group chat lit up in frantic lines. Brianna, why is the lock code different? Jason Dad drove up there. There is a car parked outside. Who did you give access to? Diane. This is not funny. Rory, call me immediately. Another message from Jason Mom is screaming. What did you do? Then Diane sent a photo blurry, her hand shaking. A bank statement. Red notices across the screen. Joint account closed. Credit line suspended. Property tax draft failed. Authorization signature removed. A voicemail came next. Diane's voice cracked. Rory, you cannot do this. We are family. Call me back right now. Another followed. You had no right. None. Then one more, almost whispered. Please, just talk to me. I placed the phone face down on the table. It buzzed again and again, rattling like something desperate to be alive. Jason tried calling, once, twice, 6 times. When the ringing finally stopped, a single text appeared. What the hell is going on? I did not respond. I sat in the kitchen chair, hands steady, breath slow, knowing the storm had only just begun. The storm finally broke in person. It began with a soft thud outside my apartment door, followed by the buzzer. It's Dad, a voice said, low and strained. I pressed the intercom. Come up. When the door swung open, Mark Quinn filled the doorway, shoulders tight, breath uneven. He scanned my apartment, the mismatched chairs, the small table, the stack of documents neatly arranged. Something flickered in his expression, like he was seeing the reality of my life for the first time. Did you sell the cabin? He asked. Yes. His jaw clenched. Without telling us there was no us involved. I said, it was mine. He stepped farther in. Do you understand what you've done? That place was a place I was never invited to. I cut in. A place you used, not a place you cared about. He exhaled sharply. Your mother is in pieces. Brianna is crying. Jason is furious. You blindsided everyone. They blindsided me years ago. He stared at me, the weight of unspoken history pressing between us. Rory, this is not how family handles conflict. Family, I repeated quietly. You use that word very loosely. A silence hung thick in the room. Then I reached for the white envelope on the counter. I slid it toward him. This is from Harris Marshall, I said. A draft of what will be sent formally on Monday. He did not touch it at first. When he finally picked it up, his hand trembled. Are you really doing this? I already did. For a moment, he looked smaller, as though something in him had folded inward. He nodded once, almost imperceptibly, and walked to the door. He did not say goodbye. He did not look back. When the door clicked shut, the silence left behind felt different, solid, earned, entirely my own. The next morning arrived softer than I expected. Light filtered through the curtains, landing across the table where the last of my paperwork sat in a clean stack. I moved slowly, half expecting another wave of calls or messages, but the phone was still. When I poured my coffee, a single vibration broke the quiet. A text from Brianna. Mom wants to apologize. We did not know things were this bad. Can we talk? I read it once, then set the phone beside my mug. I did not respond. A few minutes later, another message from her. Please, Rory. We just want to understand, I whispered. You understood enough when my name paid for everything. The apartment felt grounded in a way it never had. No buzzing group chat. No demands. No guilt dressed as obligation. Just me, the documents I had organized, and the knowledge that the cabin was gone. The accounts were closed, and the estate review was already moving forward. For years, I had lived between expectation and resentment, pulled in directions I never chose. Now, for the first time, I felt still, not waiting, not reacting, just standing on ground that finally belonged to me. I sat at the table with my coffee cooling between my hands, letting the quiet settle around me. It felt nothing like the silence I grew up with. That silence had edges, expectations, rules. This one felt honest, shaped by choices I finally made for myself. I opened the folder holding the last copies of the cabin documents. My grandfather's handwriting along the margins was still clear, steady, protective. I traced the letters with my thumb. "You told me to keep it safe," I murmured, but keeping it meant letting go. The phone buzzed again, another message from Brianna. I did not read it. I slipped the folder into the drawer and closed it gently, as if sealing something finished. I stood by the window and watched the morning unfold, cars merging, people talking, a dog tugging its owner down the sidewalk. None of it demanded anything from me. For once, nothing did. I whispered, "This is mine now. Not the cabin. Not the approval I chased for decades. Just the quiet. The space to breathe without bracing for the next demand." If you have ever taken yourself back from a place that used you, then you already know the sound this choice makes. And if any part of my story echoes something in you, stay with me. Your voice deserves to be heard next.